Okay, so today we are going to be using the RIDE problem solving method to, or today we're going to be using the RIDE problem solving strategy to solve some math equations. So what RIDE stands for is the R stands for read the problem. Next is I, which is identify the relevant information. Next is D, which is determine the operation and unit for the answer. And last is E, which is enter the correct numbers and calculate, then check your answer. So we're using this formula or this word to solve some math problems. So it's kind of just like another little strategy to help you work through word problems, which can be difficult for students. So the first problem we have here states that Carrie works as a library assistant in Operington Library. She earns $9.75 per an hour. So how much will she get paid if she works 40 hours in 1 week? So first we read the prompt, which is R in our RIDE. So next, what do we need to do, which is the I? Identify the relevant information. So to do that, I'll just take my pen and I'll circle some of the relevant information that we need to know. So in the first sentence here, we see that Carrie works at a library assistant in Operington Library. None of that's really relevant, so we know she's working. That's all we really need to know. Here we see that she earns $9.75 per an hour. I'd say that's relevant information, so we're going to go ahead and circle $9.75 per an hour. So we know she makes $9.75 in 1 hour. And now the last sentence says, how much will she get paid if she puts in 40 hours of work in a week? So that's going to be some relevant information too, because we want to know how much she gets paid when she works 40 hours. So I'm going to circle 40 hours too. So that was the I, where we identified the relevant information. And as you can see, we identified the relevant information, which is $9.75 per an hour, and then how much in 40 hours. And that leads us to the D in the RIDE problem solving strategy, which stands for determine the operation and unit for the answer. So for this problem, what I like to do is I like to use little type of graph type things, or just charts right here to kind of work and solve out the problem at all. So what I like to do is I like to go back and I like to see what information we circled right away. So we need to know how much she makes if she works 40 hours in a week. So for this last column, I'm going to put the total pay, middle one, number of hours, and in this first one I'll put the hourly pay. So if we look at our relevant information, we see that she makes $9.75 in 1 hour. So we can fill out our first little box here of the chart. So our hourly pay is $9.75, and that's gonna be the same for like the hourly pay. Her hourly pay won't change. And for 1 hour, we know she gets paid the $9.75. So how many hours? 1, and her total pay is $9.75. So now we need to figure out how much she makes in 40 hours. This is the operation in the unit we'll be using to solve and get our answer. So if you kind of remember from our previous lessons, we were working on moving the decimal place over depending on what number it is. So now we're going to work by the tens place, and we'll kind of use those decimal moving techniques that we learned the last time. So we need to figure out how much she makes in 40 hours. So we don't really want to skip right to 40 and do the multiplication for it. We kind of want to visually see how much she makes. So instead of going to 40 right away, we'll kind of break it into an easier number, which is easier to use, which is 10. So 10 hours. And if you remember from moving our decimal, we can just move it over 1 to the right to get $97.50 for 10 hours. So we're up at 10 hours now, but we need to figure out how much she makes in 40 hours. So we're going to continue to work by our tens until we get to the 40 hours we need to solve the question. So the number of hours she works, let's move on to 20 hours. We know 20 hours is going to be 2 times what 10 hours was. So that's kind of quick math that we can use. And I know that she'll make $195 in 20 hours. Here, if you want to, you could, if you feel comfortable enough, you can probably skip to the 40 because you know 20 or 40 is just 20 doubled. But for the sake of this, we'll fill out the complete chart to make it we can visually see our answer and make sure we're right too. So for the number of hours now, we have 30. So we know that's going to be 9750 times 3, which is 292.50. And lastly, we'll do the 40 hours. And we know that is the 10 hours times by 4 to get 40 hours. So that is $390. So now we have our chart completed and filled out here. We got to make sure that we completed all the parts of the D. So we determine the operation, which is the chart we're using, and the unit for the answer. Our unit is going to be the number of hours and the total pay. So once we figure that out and we filled out the chart, we can see that for 1 hour she gets paid $9.75, 10 hours is $97.50, 20 hours is $195, 30 hours is $292.50, and lastly 40 hours is $390. So that completes our D. And last now we're on E for RIDE, so our problem solving strategy. And E stands for enter the correct numbers and calculate and then check your answer. So we already kind of completed part of the E when we filled out the chart. So we put in the correct numbers, and this is when we could take out our calculators or do long multiplication to check and make sure we actually got our answer correct. So you can pull out your calculator and check it here. Let's plug it in. So 40 times 9.75 gets you $390, which is what we have down here in our 40-hour work week column. So now we know our answer is correct, and we just got to go back and answer it completely. So if Carrie works 40 hours at the library and gets paid $9.75 per an hour, she will make $390 in 40 hours. And that's how you use the RIDE problem solving strategy to solve some math equations. We'll do this one more time here with a different problem to make sure we can get it all set.